Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Molly.
Today, we're going to be looking at the Star Wars spin-offs, the theatrical ones, that is. I know I said earlier that we were going to be going into the Ewok movies and possibly the holiday special, but those will be a separate thing.
Yeah. We'll do them eventually. Probably.
Plus, I doubt either of those will have any bearing on our favorite Star Wars characters list video, so no need to worry about them just yet.
Nah, I guess not.
So, as of when we're recording this in 2024, there has been three other Star Wars movies not in the main 9 Skywalker saga.
And those are?
Those are Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the pilot movie for the animated series that we got; Rogue One, the story of how the Rebels got the plans for the Death Star; and Solo, Han Solo prequel. Self-explanatory, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
We are going to be covering these in chronological release order, so let's get into Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so like we said, this was the pilot movie for the animated series Clone Wars, which, oh buddy, we are lucky we got that series with how aggressively mid this movie was.
Yeah, I'll admit this to you now. It was hard to pay attention during this movie. It really wasn't my thing.
Yeah, it's like, look, the series is a lot better, and even though it also takes some time to get its legs going, it got there in the end, I think.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people think. Also.
Yeah, sure. I haven't really watched the series, so I can't say too much about that.
Anyways, so what's the story? Well, hold on. Okay. Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting a battle in the Clone Wars when they are given Anakin's not new, his apprentice, Ahsoka Tano. This is where she made her first appearance as well.
Yep. Very nice. Yes.
And throughout the movie, they find that Jabba the Hutt's son has been kidnapped, and they have to return him to Jabba so that the Republic can use Jabba's hyperspace lane so that they can more effectively win the war.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty simple setup.
Pretty simple, but it gets kind of convoluted in ways, too.
Like how so?
Well, so, first off, Jabba's son was captured by... who was he captured by?
I just remember the droids had him.
Yeah, he just gets... He just shows up in the hands of the of the separatists, which, I mean, granted, it's fine if he gets kidnapped off screen, but it's kind of vague on who actually got him. Was it Dooku? Was it Asajj Ventress? Was it some random ass droid? I don't know.
It's I guess I kind of got the impression that Dooku did it. Maybe, I don't know.
Anyways, maybe it's not important how he got kidnapped, just that he was. And if they did say it, well, yeah, this movie's kind of boring, so I forgot who they said if they did say.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is kind of boring, so it is hard to pay attention.
And so they're doing all these things to make it seem like the Jedi stole Jabba's son and killed him, and then when Anakin and Ahsoka bring him back to Jabba, he's just like, yeah, kill him, even though it's clear that they did not kill him.
Well, yeah, Jabba just likes to kill people.
Anyways, let's get into the cast for this. So, most of the cast in this movie would go on to play these characters on the TV show, so that's nice.
Yes. Keep the characters consistent. Mm-hmm.
We have Matt Lanter taking over from Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. Clone Wars' Anakin is a more well-liked version of the character as opposed to the version we saw in the prequel movies.
I guess so. I feel like now there's a little bit more love towards his character.
Well, yeah, now, but at the time, it was in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Ashley Eckstein makes her debut as Ahsoka Tano, Anakin's apprentice. And Ahsoka isn't really too likable in her first go-around, but it's okay. She comes into her character.
Yeah, I think so.
And now she's one of the most popular Star Wars characters ever, I think.
Yeah, you always see people dressing up like her for Comic Cons, and and she got her own TV show, so pretty popular.
James Arnold Taylor takes over from Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and honestly, I love his Obi-Wan. He's just perfectly sassy and wise in equal measures.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I love a good Obi-Wan. Yeah,
a good Obi one-liner.
Yeah, that's good.
D. Bradley Baker plays all of the clones, including Captain Rex, who makes his debut in this movie too. Captain Rex would be Anakin's right-hand man in the 501st Legion, and he would also become a beloved character in his own right during the Clone Wars TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people were very happy to see him cameo on Ahsoka's TV show, if ever so brief.
Yeah, I don't even remember that, but yeah.
Tom Kane plays Yoda, the narrator, and Admiral Yularen. Very diverse voice actor there.
Bless you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nika Futterman plays Asajj Ventress, Dooku's apprentice. Not necessarily a Sith, but dark side user.
Okay, yeah.
The late Ian Abercrombie plays Chancellor Palpatine / Darth Sidious.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Corey Burton plays Zero the Hutt, Jabba's uncle, I guess. I thought for some time that Zero was his aunt, despite them saying that he was his uncle.
They said several times it was an uncle.
I'm saying when I was a kid.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
He's very effeminate, very much a very flamboyant character. I'm assuming they took inspiration from Truman Capote when going with his voice.
He does have it. Ooh, excuse me. He does have an annoying voice, I think.
Now, Corey Burton also plays Dooku on the series proper, but here he was. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay, yeah.
Catherine Tabor plays Padme Amidala, taking over from Natalie Portman.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Not much to say here. She does her thing. She helps them out, and she's helpful.
Yeah. She is.
Samuel L. Jackson plays Mace Windu, reprising his role from the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, it's good to see him back, even though he's not in it too much.
On the show proper, he's replaced by T.C. Carson, but I guess they just wanted to go with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, all right.
Anthony Daniels plays C-3PO, who also played him on the Clone Wars and in the movies.
Oh, well, that's nice, keeping his voice consistent. Okay.
And Christopher Lee plays Count Dooku this time, replacing Corey Burton.
Okay.
Now, Christopher Lee was actually going to reprise his role as Dooku in the series, but when he heard Corey Burton's take on his character, he said, "You already have a Dooku right here."
Nice. He must do a good job.
Yeah, it's always nice to see Hollywood actors give credit to voice actors. I feel like they're a very underrated and very underappreciated group of performers.
Yeah, they are most of the time.
All right, so like we said, this movie is it's very aggressively mid. Okay, like I can't say I hate it, but I can't say I love it very much either. You know, it's just it comes and goes. It's a under 2 hour movie, so it doesn't take up much of your time. But honestly, you probably could have been doing something better with that time.
Yeah. I mean, I already said I didn't really care for it. Um, I just, it just wasn't really my thing. I don't know if it was just the animation that wasn't really jiving with me. Um, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's another thing. The animation in this movie was kind of spotty at times. Like at points, I feel like it was kind of it wasn't very rendered properly.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It is some parts were a little rough.
And this isn't just this isn't a criticism just restricted to the movie. Some episodes of the show are kind of undercooked in the animation department, but on the whole, it looks fine.
Yeah, I'd say it's fine. Yeah.
And even with this animation in the show, it takes some getting used to, I'll admit.
Yeah, I could see that. A little bit of getting used to.
And this movie is basically around 4 episodes stitched together to form a movie, which, I mean, it kind of shows, but, you know, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah. But it's fine.
Now, funny thing about this movie, it is kind of hard to get a hold of to watch.
Oh yeah? Why?
Well, the movie itself went out of print in 2013 after the original distributor, Warner Brothers, allowed their rights to expire.
Okay.
So, Blu-ray and DVD copies tend to go for pretty high prices online. Although I have found it on Amazon for around $13 to $17, I think, so it's not that pricey.
It's not too bad, but I don't think I'd pay that money for it.
Yeah, if I find it at like a used book and movie store, I might pick it up, but only if it's not too expensive.
Yeah.
Netflix streamed it along with a series for a while, and then both the movie and the series would move to Disney Plus when that service launched in 2019. So really, Disney Plus is the only place to legally view it. You can't rent it on Google Play or iTunes, I'm assuming, and like I said, the physical copy is pretty hard to find.
All right.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know it was such a elusive copy.
Yeah. So, but given this movie's general reception online, I don't think anyone's really too upset about that.
No, yeah.
Like
I don't think so.
I wouldn't say a whole lot of people outright hate it, but nobody is really loving it either. But it's also not really getting too much attention, I think.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I think the highest profile person I've ever seen really talk about it, well, yeah, the highest profile channels I've seen talk about it are CinemaSins and Shea Frillas, but even then, it just comes and goes.
Yeah. I didn't really know about it, but that's because it's me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so I'd say in comparison to the other Star Wars movies, this definitely ranks near the bottom.
Yeah, I would yeah. I don't even really know. I didn't pay attention through a lot of it, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, still better than Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi, though. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe.
So, next we are going to be getting into Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and this is my favorite of the spin-offs. It's really good.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I remember seeing it in theaters, and I really enjoyed my time. So let's watch it.
Yeah, let's.
All right.
So, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is. Well, it's the first live action Star Wars movie that released in theaters to not really be a part of the 9 movie Skywalker saga.
Yeah, it kind of it's its own story. It's still in the universe, but it is yeah, it's apart from the main story we're so used to.
Yeah, it's maybe not the most necessary story to tell, but I feel like it is a story to tell, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So, okay, Rogue One. In this movie is about the. It's about how the rebels got the plans to the original Death Star, and really the struggles that little band of rebels went through to get it to them.
Yeah, which is we see that mentioned in A New Hope. We know that these plans were given to us somehow, but it's not really shown how. We just know that people have died giving them these plans, and this is that story.
Yeah, so director Gareth Edwards is in the directing chair this time. Star Wars is no stranger to having multiple directors taking a crack at its stories, but I feel like Gareth Edwards was a choice.
Sure. I don't really know what else he's done, so
Well, he did the 2014 Godzilla movie.
okay. You've probably made me watch that. Yeah.
We literally watched it this year for this channel.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, he.
Anything recent? Anything recent? More recent than Rogue One?
He did last year's The Creator. It was nominated for Best Visual Effects against some other heavyweights like Mission Impossible, whatever that last Mission Impossible was, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and the winner, Godzilla Minus One, which, funnily enough, kind of funny that Gareth Edwards did a Godzilla movie and then a movie he directs loses an Oscar to another Godzilla movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so.
But this movie also has some other similarities with Godzilla 2014 in that, well, the main leads of the movie aren't the most engaging characters. However, I feel like there's a bit more to these two than the main protagonist of Edwards' Godzilla movie.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
But let's get into them, shall we?
Sure, let's do that.
So, this movie stars Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso, the daughter of Galen Erso, the man who put the flaw into the Death Star that helps it get blown up later on. She's a beaten down character. She's really sick of it all. She doesn't really care for the Empire or the Rebels because to her, doesn't matter what the flag is if you don't look up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But she later gains her courage and becomes part of the rebellion.
Yep. Mm-hmm. She fights for, the just cause, I guess.
Diego Luna plays Cassian Andor. The guy who gets Jyn into this fight, he's been at this fight for a long time, he says. And later on, he gets his own spin-off show, Andor, which I unfortunately haven't seen all of, but I've heard very good things about it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either, so we're in the same boat.
Yeah, I got the 4K steelbook of it from Walmart, and I'm gonna get to the rest of it eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we will.
Andor is he's in much the same boat as Jyn. He's just beaten down and tired of this fight, but he's different in that he's continuing the fight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess. Yeah, you could say he's believes in it stronger. I guess. Well, at the beginning, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Alan Tudyk plays Andor's best friend and droid K2SO, and he's probably my favorite character in the whole movie. He's he is just a delight. He's so fun to watch, and he has just the best personality out of everyone in this movie.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. He gets some good lines. Um, yeah, I think he does have probably the most memorable personality.
And that's all thanks to his actor, Alan Tudyk, who, unlike previous Star Wars droid actor, Anthony Daniels, he was not restricted to having to be trapped in a big old metal droid suit. He could do this by motion capture, which kind of pissed off Anthony Daniels, but probably in a good-natured way.
Yeah, like, man, technology, I mean, has advanced, so Alan Tudyk is able to do that, but kind of seems unfair that Anthony Daniels had to be stuck in a suit. But, I see what you mean.
But he probably didn't have to do that for the sequel trilogy. They probably just had a droid as some sort of thing walking around, and I don't know, man. Maybe he was stuck in a suit, but
I don't know.
He did also get to do several seasons of Clone Wars as just the voice for 3PO, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Our man got his bag still, either way.
Yep, that's what matters.
Donnie Yen plays Chirrut Imwe, one of the Guardians of the Wills on the planet Jeddah. He's a blind guy, and he's not quite a Jedi, but he knows the Force, kind of like Maz Kanata in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, like if he had a lightsaber, he would be a Jedi, but he doesn't have one.
Yeah, he's more of a Force acolyte, like funny choice of words, but he's more like someone who studies the Force but can't quite use it the same way a Jedi would. But it does lead to a lot of really cool things happening with his character. He beats up all sorts of stormtroopers and kills all sorts of fools. And honestly, if I had a nickel for every time Donnie Yen played a blind badass who can kick everyone else's butt, I'd have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah. Was it John Wick? Is that?
Yeah, it was John Wick 4.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a really cool character in this movie. Yeah, because even though he's blind, he's very strong with the Force, which helps him, like, to see, basically.
Yeah. Live by faith, not by sight.
Yep.
I kind of messed that up a little, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Wen Jiang plays Baze Malbus, Chirrut's best friend and fellow acolyte, though Baze has kind of lost his faith a bit on the way, probably as a result of the same thing that's happened to Jin and Cassian, just getting beat down by the Empire and this oppressive system that they have, and just my man is having a tough time, but he's just making it through so he can protect his best friend.
Yeah, he's trying his best.
Ben Mendelsohn plays the main villain of the movie, Orson Krennic, the main architect of the Death Star. And honestly, I don't like his character, but I think that's intended. But I love Ben Mendelsohn in this role. He is just excellent at this as a slimy, self-obsessed character who's really only out for him and his own legacy.
Oh yeah, he plays the bad guy really well.
Guy Henry plays Governor Wilhuff Tarkin. Well, the body of it anyways, and the voice. And on his face, they recreate Peter Cushing's face for it, which is, we'll get into that, but it's definitely a choice.
Yeah, we'll get into it, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hold my thoughts till then.
Forrest Whitaker plays Saw Gerrera, Jin's guardian when after her father is taken and her mother is killed by the Empire. We'll get into him later, but his character is interesting, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Riz Ahmed plays Bodhi, a defecting Imperial pilot who is Galen Erso's way of getting the plans to the rebellion.
Yeah. He's all right.
Jimmy Smits and Genevieve O'Reilly reprise their Revenge of the Sith roles as Bail Organa and Mon Mothma.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which, interesting story about Genevieve O'Reilly. She was supposed to play Mon Mothma in Revenge of the Sith, but her scenes all got cut. It was supposed to be her, Padme, and Bale setting up what would become the rebellion later on. But later on, she got to play her in this, on Andor, and on Ahsoka, amongst other things. So, yeah, she turned this deleted role into a real big opportunity for her. So that's nice.
Did you say Padme?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know.
yeah. When you watch the deleted scenes, you get to find out fun things.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's pretty much it for all our main players. Except for one more, of course. James Earl Jones returns after 11 years to play Darth Vader. And, well, I have this written down in my notes, but I'm going to get into this right now because it's not going to take too long. He sounds old as hell.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they didn't give him very many lines.
And James Earl Jones was old as hell when taking on this role. He was in his 80s. He's in his 90s now, so we can't be surprised that he does, but it's a little distracting.
I don't really think it's that distracting because, I mean, they still have, Darth Vader's voice and sounding in the, the filter for whatever.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. Later on, for the Obi-Wan show, they were able to clean his voice up, make him sound like he would have when he was younger-ish. Now, they probably didn't have the technology to do that in 2016 when they made Rogue One, which is understandable. But still, and I know that the alternative would be to have someone else play Vader, which is not an option.
Yeah, so quit complaining.
No, I'm a Star Wars fan. We complain a lot.
I've noticed.
Have you seen any of the videos for The Acolyte?
No.
Me neither. I don't want to, because it's just going to be a whole bunch of people whining and complaining about Star Wars, and I don't care about it anymore, even though that's exactly what I'm doing.
All right.
We're very contradictory Star Wars fans, I mean.
Yes.
Anyways, let's get back to this. So, Rogue One is it sets himself apart from the other Star Wars movies pretty quickly with its lack of an opening credits in the beginning, which is a choice. It's very it's a kind of delivers some whiplash when you first see this movie because you get the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and then bam, smashes to exterior of a planet. Like, oh, we're not doing the opening credits. That's I guess I don't know what I expected.
Yeah, well, I just assumed they didn't do it because it's not technically a Star Wars movie. Well, Star Wars series.
Well, yeah,
movie,
that's why they probably didn't do it because it's not one of the main series. But still, like when you're first watching this, it's a little jarring, because you've been conditioned by the past 7 movies to expect that, and then all of a sudden it's not there. So it's like, oh, well, okay.
I guess, but after after it didn't have credits, I was like, okay. I wouldn't say it was jarring for me.
Well, okay, look.
Sorry. Continue.
And let's get into this right away, too. This movie had some troubled production with reshoots being necessary. Why they were necessary, I'm not entirely sure, but it led to a lot of the third act being completely reshot. And not just the third act, a lot of stuff happening throughout the movie, because there are scenes in some of the trailers that are not in the movie at all. I think the second trailer is entirely composed of scenes that are not in the movie.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah. And this sort of thing happens with big budget tentpole blockbusters, but
Yeah, I guess it does happen from time to time.
Okay. And something I really like in this movie is we get to see a lot more of a grayer and morality side from the rebellion. At one point, Cassian kills an informant because he couldn't get away with him after they were running away from the Empire. so he couldn't give them any info that he got from him.
Yeah.
And another point, his higher ups tell him to kill Galen Erso if he can't get him out,
Yeah, they do tell him that.
and he doesn't go through with it. But Galen ends up getting killed anyways. So,
Yeah, he does die anyways.
But I like that we get some not so good things being done by the good guys. That's really interesting. It really paints them in a more realistic way.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It shows the realistic side, which is nice.
Speaking of which, articles were coming out before this movie came out that were describing this movie as the most war that puts the war in Star Wars, which, me and some other people were like, I mean, come on, Star Wars has been in the title the whole, the past 40 years. What's going to make this any different? Oh, it's a lot different. We get a lot more gritty, boots on the ground, actual combat in this one that we didn't really get in any of the other ones, including the prequels, which, yeah, we got to see some of the war side of that, but that was more like Halo or something, really sci-fi, not really something that anyone today would be able to really grasp a hold of. But here, I feel like this is a more tangible showing, considering we have real sets, we have practical effects, we have all that sorts of things that really stick in your mind more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah. Oh.
And I've never been to war, so maybe I'm completely talking out of my ass. But I feel like this is a more tangible thing to grasp onto in your mind than some of the previous examples of combat in Star Wars between armies.
Yeah. Well, also, Star Wars mostly is just like the personal battles and stuff like that. So you see more like one-on-one fights instead of the whole, battle scenes.
That's true too.
So, yeah. But yeah, this one does seem more, yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, which also brings us to our next point, Saw Gerrera. Now, Saw was a character in Clone Wars, the TV show, where he and his sister were fighting against the Separatists, the droid armies and all that, and eventually, but before that, he and his sister worked with Anakin and Obi-Wan. At some point between then and Rebels, his sister was killed, and Saw formed his own sort of splinter group of rebels that wasn't really. They weren't painting the rebellion in a good light. They were a lot more down with dirty tactics than people would have liked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Saw recognizes this in Rogue One, so when the Death Star fires on Jeddah, he recognizes that his brand of rebellion isn't really needed anymore. So he's basically being held together by machines anyway. So he decides to just let himself be killed.
Yeah. Yeah, he is kind of barely holding on, anyways.
Which, honestly, I love Forrest Whitaker. He's an amazing actor, and he's good in this movie. I feel like he's a little underutilized, though.
Yeah, especially since he's such a big name and, yeah, like you said, a good actor. He could have, they could have used him to do more.
Now, to be fair, they did use him in on Rebels and in the Andor show, from what I've seen. So this isn't the only time he got to play Saw, but still, it would have been nice to see a bit more of him, which we probably were going to before those scenes were cut.
Yeah, more cut scenes.
Okay. Cassian and Jin as protagonists. I feel like they are likable enough. Like, I don't hate them. I like them. They're just they just don't really hold a candle when it comes to the supporting cast.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. They're okay. They're pretty average.
I certainly don't want anything bad to happen to them.
Yeah, But like you said, I like the side characters more.
You got K2SO, this former Imperial droid who is just a ball of fun. He's fun. He's funny. He's got his heartwarming moments too, and he sacrifices himself to help Jin and Cassian get the plans.
Yeah, so he's a pretty cool character.
Plus, he comes in clutch as the getaway driver to get them off Jeddah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then you have Chirrut and Baze. Honestly, put Donnie Yen in any movie and I'm there.
Yeah. I really like those two characters. What was the blind guy's name?
Chirrut.
Chirrut. Okay. I like him a lot, even though I don't know his name.
I love how when Saw's, his henchmen basically were kidnapping our characters here to bring them to Saw, and they're putting bags on everyone's head to make sure they can't find where they're going. They put a bag on Chirrut, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind."
That's pretty funny. That one makes me laugh every time.
It's like they didn't realize that he's blind, but they probably kept the bag on him because what if he's lying?
Yeah, guess you're right. Which you could tell by his eyes that, there's something wrong with him. Oh well, it was still funny.
It's still funny. Okay. Like I said, the side characters are more interesting, including Bodhi. He doesn't get a whole lot to do, but again, you get a good actor like Riz Ahmed, and you give him some decent backstory for this character, that he's a former Imperial pilot who's defecting because he doesn't like what the Empire is doing, and yeah, you get some decent character from this guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
I'm not gonna say he's my favorite Star Wars character, but he's one of the better ones in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And adding on to that, I love the world building in this movie. We get a good sense of what's going on outside of our protagonist's point of view.
Yeah, we'd see a lot of different perspectives.
Just looking in the background of what's going on, we can tell that these worlds are lived in. We can tell that they're alive. We can tell that they're interesting, really. Something that can't be said about the sequel trilogy very much.
Yeah, don't even start.
Don't even start.
Mm-hmm.
I will, but don't even.
Don't start.
I like that about this movie. Even though that it is a standalone movie, you can tell that the filmmakers put in a lot of effort for this in order to make things really seem alive.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. It's very. I appreciate that they put in all that work for the background for this one movie that's not even technically part of the Star Wars story. I guess I don't know.
Come on, it's part of the story.
It is. I don't know what would you call it.
It's not part of the main
spin-off.
Yeah.
Spinoff.
Spinoff.
That's what I was looking for.
It's literally called Rogue One: A Star Wars Story.
I just said the wrong words. I was looking for the spin-off word. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
I don't even know what I was talking about.
Anyways, let's get back to things. Just looking at my list here. Okay, let's talk about CGI Tarkin and Leia, because it got a little it got some heat when this movie came out, and it still does in certain parts of the internet.
My opinion, which I'm just Molly, is that I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I like it. It's okay. Look, it doesn't look 100% like a real person, but I think it looks pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, there is some uncanny valley there. You could tell this is fake and there's something not quite right. But for the time and what they had, I thought it was okay.
Yeah, and we watched this on my 4K copy of it, and I feel like it cleaned it up a little bit, and it looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Now, would it have been probably better if they had just restricted the use of Tarkin to his reflection or seeing him in a hologram. Maybe that probably would have helped with the Uncanny Valley a whole lot. But for what we have and what it is, I like it. I think they did a good job. They captured Peter Cushing perfectly,
Yeah, I thought so too.
which is kind of nice given that Cushing really liked playing the role of Tarkin in the original Star Wars, and so he was disappointed that he wouldn't be able to, given that his character got killed off. So I feel like he would have approved of this.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
I would hope so, at least. And then there's Leia. I feel like this is a little worse than Tarkin. I still don't mind, but it's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, it helps that Carrie Fisher was around to actually do the voice for her.
That helps, yeah.
And unfortunately, this movie came out right before Carrie Fisher passed. And in some theaters, they included a dedication to her that didn't come out on the discs, but that's fine.
Yeah.
There was a special thanks for her, so there's that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she got her she got a dedication at the end of The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. I would hope so, at least.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing one or two.
So really this is one of the last things that Carrie Fisher worked on before she died.
Yeah.
Okay. And last little bit of my notes I'd like to take care of. Well, just the character of one of the last things. Krennic and Tarkin. I feel like their dynamic is kind of what you would expect from Imperial officers of their level. They're just biting at each other all the time, trying to step on each other's toes to get to the top, kind of like crabs in a bucket. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And eventually, it ends with Tarkin literally hitting Krennic with the Death Star laser.
Yeah, he hits him with the laser. Yeah.
Which, honestly, as far as deaths go, he can't say he'd suffered.
Yeah, he got lucky.
Now, let's just do favorite scenes right now, because I feel like we both have the same one.
Probably. What's yours?
Vader in the hallway at the end.
It's hard to beat that one.
Oh my God! It's just the build up to it, because okay, so at the end of the Battle of Scarif, which really awesome scene, by the way. I love the dogfights in space. I love the ground battle. I love the dogfights on the planet. It's all great. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's probably some of the best starfighting in Star Wars since Return of the Jedi. Anyways, though.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun.
We see Vader say to one of his men to prepare a boarding party because he's going onto that ship. He's going to try to get the plans. Mm-hmm. And we see the rebels panicking. They're trying to get onto this other ship when they can't get through the door. And all of a sudden, everyone goes quiet. We can only hear the creaking of the metal in the ship because this thing's basically falling apart. Mm-hmm. And then we hear Vader's breathing. And then we hear and see him activate his lightsaber. All the rebels open fire like that's going to help them. And he just tears through them. It's awesome, man. This is like watching a cybernetic Jason Voorhees tear through camp counselors, which at one point Jason did become a cyborg, but that's another story.
Yeah, this scene is it's very, very cool. It's very memorable. After you watch it, you're gonna
want to watch it again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
You get this slowed down version of the Imperial March. You see Vader just deflecting laser bolts. You see him stop them in the air and force them back at the people who shot them at him. You see him rip their guns out, slice them up, choke them out. It's awesome,
and it's so cool because whenever he first comes on, it's dark and you can't really see. The rebels are looking around like, oh man, it's dark. And then it only gets lit up whenever Darth Vader, unsheaths his lightsaber.
It is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite scene in all of Star Wars. It is beyond S tier. It is S plus tier.
It's pretty awesome. Very awesome.
Damn dirty rebels.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so would you like to know some trivia?
Yeah, give me some fast facts.
It was Donnie Yen's idea that Chirrut would be blind.
Okay, pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad he came up with that because
Yeah.
that's just awesome.
It makes him a little cooler.
He's like Daredevil in Star Wars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Krennic wasn't supposed to wear his cape throughout the whole movie, only at the beginning, but Ben Mendelsohn really liked it, so he just kept wearing it.
Yeah, a cape's pretty threatening, I guess.
Power move right there.
Yeah, it makes you powerful.
I feel like real-life senators should wear capes because I feel like that would make them a little cooler.
Yeah, a little more respectable, maybe.
Maybe. I'd probably respect and actually know the names of our senators if they wore capes.
Maybe.
George Lucas really liked this movie.
Well, yeah.
Apparently he thought The Force Awakens was pretty mid.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Stanton, the voice of Tarkin on Clone Wars and Rebels, suggests that he approved of Guy Henry as Tarkin and the CGI that they used to recreate Peter Cushing.
Nice.
During an Actors on Actor interview with Diego Luna, Hayden Christensen approved of Darth Vader's portrayal in this movie. Duh, who wouldn't?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
But he also thinks that Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars movies ever made, which, duh.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he think that?
Yeah. It's pretty obvious.
So, previously, it was a theory that, a film theory, if you would, that the Death Star's weakness was intentional sabotage, not just an oversight. This movie canonized that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Donnie Yen was actually offered the role of Baze before he got the role of Chirrut.
Okay.
When K2SO slapped Cassian in the face and told him, "You'll get a fresh one if you mouth off again," Alan Tudyk actually improvised that. You could see Diego Luna trying corpsing while covering his mouth to cover up the fact that he's laughing his ass off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Paramount requested that Lucasfilm change the title of the movie out of fear that audience would confuse it for their own movie, similarly named Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Even though that came out around a year before that.
Yeah.
But the studios came to an agreement that the movie could keep its name as long as information about the movie was not revealed until after Rogue Nation was released.
Okay.
Which, I mean, the Lucasfilm marketing machine would have been going towards The Force Awakens at that point, but whatever.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
Let's see. Diego Luna claimed to have cracked a rib during this movie when doing the scene where Cassian and Jyn were jumping onto the wreckage tower, but he also didn't tell anyone back then.
Why not? He didn't want to go to the hospital or
Probably not.
stop filming. Yeah.
Oh, okay. After being voiced by Phil LaMarr, great voice actor by the way, in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Jimmy Smits returns to play Bail Organa for the first time since Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
Nice.
Always nice to see him.
Yeah.
But there's some other replacements, given that some of the actors for these characters are either too old or dead, or in Hayden Christensen's case, just not asked back.
Sure.
Spencer Wilding replaces Hayden Christensen inside the Vader suit. But given that Vader is only really seen unmasked for around 2 seconds when he's in the back to tank, it really wouldn't have mattered who played him.
No, not really. You can't tell.
And stuntman Daniel Napris was in the costume during the action scenes.
Yeah.
Peter Cushing passed away in '94 due to prostate cancer. And Wayne Pigram, the man who played him in Revenge of the Sith for his 5-second cameo, didn't come back. So he, like I said, was replaced by Guy Henry and CGI.
Oh. Yep.
Carrie Fisher's body was replaced by Ingrid Delilah because Carrie Fisher at that point was 60, so a little bit different than how she looked 40 years previously.
Well, yeah, that's how time works.
A little bit.
Yeah.
She mostly looked the same. She just she didn't have the same hair.
Yep.
She didn't want to go through hair and makeup.
No.
Okay. Oh, funny thing actually. They didn't replace these two actors, but they just reused footage of Red and Gold Leader from A New Hope for their scenes over Scarif.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Pretty interesting to see them reuse that footage. You could tell that it's not new footage though, of course, because it's a lot more grainy than the newer footage. But it flows well. I think.
I think it's cool using. It makes it a little more connected to A New Hope, maybe. I don't know. I think it's cool.
Okay. Technically speaking, James Earl Jones voiced Vader for the last time in this movie.
Technically, yeah.
They used AI for Obi-Wan, which explains, that. I guess I forgot that they did AI for that.
Yeah.
Though he was still credited for the voice, so I'm hoping they paid him at least.
Oh, I'm sure. To use his voice, I'm sure they have to.
Which, if I remember correctly, James Earl Jones has signed off on Disney using his voice, through AI. So I guess he's cool with it, as long as he's getting paid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Disney could go ahead and pay their VFX artists more, but I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Okay, we're almost done. I swear.
Yeah, because we have to leave to go eat dinner at my mom's now.
Okay. We'll do this last little bit and then wrap up.
Okay.
So, Brie Larson, Tatiana Maslany, Rooney Mara, and Kate Mara all screen tested for the role of Jyn Erso before Felicity Jones was cast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with Felicity Jones.
Yeah, it was fine.
Though the Mara sisters would have been nice. Aaron Paul, Sam Claflin, and Edgar Ramirez auditioned for casting Andor before the casting of Diego Luna. I'm fine with Diego Luna, though Aaron Paul would have been a good choice too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jet Li was offered the role of Chirrut Imwe. That could have been interesting.
Yeah, that could have.
Alexandre Desplat was the film's original composer, but was replaced by Michael Giacchino after the movie was extensively reshot, as Desplat was no longer available to score the new footage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Vader was originally going to be a cameo with no lines, and the Force and all its aspects were supposed to be completely absent. Let's thank God that they decided to not do that.
Yeah, definitely.
And aside from that, they were also going to cut the Vader killing fools in the hallway scene. Why on earth you would do that, I don't know.
Yeah. Good thing they didn't.
Jyn Erso's mom was originally going to be a former Jedi who survived Order 66, but this plot point was dropped because the creative team wanted to examine what life would in the Star Wars universe looks like for normal people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But elements of this are still in the movie, such as the kyber crystal necklace she gives to Jyn in the opening scene, and the fact that she looks like she's dressed like a Jedi.
Yeah, fair enough.
Plus her devotion to the Force.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. The first draft of the movie, spoiler alert, had the heroes survive the final battle. Because Gareth Edwards didn't think that the studio would let him kill them off.
Oh.
However, Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, who we can't say anything bad about with this movie, was willing to let him kill everyone.
Nice.
So, thanks, Kathleen Kennedy.
Sure, yeah. You done?
Almost. I just want to get into that thing about letting everyone die.
Okay.
I feel like this was the right choice. It sucks. It does, because these are all very likable characters. But this was the best choice for the movie because it leads to actual real stakes in this movie. I feel like that's very important.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, no duh. It's important to have stakes, Tyler. What you're not saying anything new. Yeah, I know, but I just want to get my thoughts out there.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, amp the stakes up.
So that was Rogue One. It's honestly one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I think when we did our ranking a couple years back, I put it at number 3. I would still make that choice.
I don't know.
Maybe 3, maybe 4. I really liked Return of the Jedi on my most recent rewatch of it. So those two are fighting over the number 3 spot.
Yeah, mine's probably down 4 or 5. I don't know.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Solo, a Star Wars story. The so far last Star Wars spin-off movie they did, because this one bombed pretty hard.
Yep. All right, let's watch it.
Yeah, let's do it. Before we get into our last movie of discussion, in between our recordings of Rogue One and Solo, James Earl Jones has sadly passed away. Now, we all know him for his role as Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy, but Jones had an illustrious film career that goes beyond just Star Wars.
Yeah, it was very wide.
Whether it be King Jafar from Coming to America and its sequel, or Mufasa from The Lion King, or even roles such as Thulsa Doom from Conan the Barbarian, or Terrence Mann from Field of Dreams, James Earl Jones was a talent that we will not soon forget, and his work will always illuminate his talent as long as people can remember it.
Yes, he lived a long, good life and shared his work with everyone.
I just wanted to have a bit of a tribute for him at the start of this section, given what he meant for this franchise that we've been covering. And just getting into that, well, the role of Darth Vader couldn't have been done by anyone else.
No, probably not.
Well, rest in peace, Mr. Jones. You will be missed.
Yes, you will.
Now, Solo, a Star Wars story. It was a unique entry into the franchise.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Barring the prequels, which, yeah, this is really the only Star Wars movie to take a character from the original trilogy and expand on their backstory, see where they came from and all that.
Yeah, so pretty interesting. Also a pretty bold move, because you know how Star Wars fans are, and taking a movie that has, a different actor for the character of Han Solo, there's going to be some
Pushback.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, a character as iconic as Han Solo and an actor just as iconic in Harrison Ford are not easy acts to follow. And, well, needless to say, it didn't quite go the direction that Disney was hoping this would go. But I feel like it works fine enough on its own, in all honesty. Once you get past the initial awkwardness of Alden Ehrenreich's performance as Han Solo, I feel like he comes into his own by the end of the movie.
Yeah, I really don't think he did that bad of a job. I thought he played a fine Han Solo, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, this movie was also supposed to be the start of a trilogy for Han Solo, but the financial failure of Solo let's be honest, it kind of took it out back and shot it in the head.
Yeah, I don't think I'd put it that way, but I guess so.
Let's put things in perspective, okay? Solo had a budget of $275 million because of trouble production. They had to do lots of reshoots after its original directors, Phil Lord and Chris Miller of the Lego Movie and the 21 Jump Street movies, were fired over creative differences with Kathleen Kennedy. Make of that what you will. They were replaced by Ron Howard, who also happens to be a close friend of George Lucas. Kind of funny how that works.
Yeah. Kind of funny.
Now, just to break even, this movie would have had to make around $600 million. Okay, it's Star Wars. That should be an easy task to manage. Yeah, no. It didn't even make $400 million worldwide.
What would it make?
I said it didn't even make $400 million.
Yeah, I'm asking for the exact.
$392.8 million.
See, was that so hard?
Why you gotta be like this, dude?
I wanted to know the exact number.
It's not necessary.
Well, to me it was.
Look, we don't need to piss on this corpse even more. We're going to.
Well, continue.
Anyways. And to make things even worse, Solo isn't even the lowest grossing Star Wars movie. That goes to The Clone Wars, which we covered 2 segments ago. That made only $69 million. However, given that movie only cost around $8.5 million to make, it was more profitable.
Yeah, and that's what matters.
Plus, it was part of a very well-received TV series that went on to make all sorts of money for Disney, Warner Brothers, whoever owned the rights to that show at the time.
Yeah. So that ended up good, I guess.
Anyways, let's get into this cast. Okay, so we have Alden Ehrenreich, as we said, as the young Han Solo. And I feel like I said, he comes to into his own in the role throughout the movie. And yeah, because near the beginning of the movie, I was feeling kind of annoyed by him. I thought he was just a whiner, just very uninteresting, just not very interesting a character to be following. It's like, why are we following Han at this moment in time where he sucks?
Yeah. It is kind of an odd choice.
But I'd say maybe around midway through the movie, he starts to become a bit more likable. You know, we get the makings of his roguish charm that we found him with when we met him in the first movie.
Yeah, and then, I do see a little bit of Harrison Ford's Han Solo come out in his performance.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think that therein lies the problem as well. I feel like, I don't necessarily blame Ehrenreich for this, because he has to put a lot of faith in his director, but I feel like at points he was more channeling Harrison Ford than Han Solo, if that makes sense.
I do see what you mean. But again, this is also, a big role. Lots of pressure to be a Han Solo.
Yeah. Also in this movie is Yunus Sutama, I hope I said that right, as Chewbacca. Now at the time he had taken over the role from Peter Mayhew. And honestly, I don't have any complaints here. You honestly could have put any big guy in the Chewie suit and he would have done well.
Yeah, he was a good Chewbacca.
Is what a wrong person would say. I feel like there's more to this role than just being a big guy in a fursuit. I feel like your body language has to be pretty on point, pretty on key. You have to be able to act without any sort of dialogue, which he pulls off just as well as Peter Mayhew did.
Yeah, because you do want to copy, Chewbacca's mannerisms, and I think he did fine.
Yeah, for a basketball player, he did a fine job.
Mhm. I agree.
Woody Harrelson plays Han's mentor, Tobias Beckett. They meet while Han is still in the Imperial Army, and he's what kind of pushes him to desert so he can join this outlaw lifestyle. Harrelson he's a strange actor to me. Like, I never dislike him in roles, but I never really fall in love with him in roles. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always aware that he's playing a part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry. I was just holding in a sneeze. Okay. Sorry, there's lots of things happening over here. Um, I like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, like I said, I don't dislike him. It's just that he always seems like he's acting to me, which yeah, duh. But I never feel like he's really he's really the character. You know what I mean?
You just see Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I do see what you mean.
You know, it's like a similar problem that other people have with like Will Smith or Ben Affleck or Jeff Bridges. You know, it's just like they can't really get past the actor to really get in with the character.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's also, for me, this is also just me personally, seeing Woody Harrelson in a Star Wars movie is just kind of like, he doesn't belong there. Like, what? So it is kind of hard to, get past the actor.
Yeah, I had a similar issue at first with Bill Burr in his first episode of The Mandalorian, because it's like, where is Space Boston? Where are you from, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
However, with Bill Burr's second appearance, we get a lot more depth and a lot more character with his character, so that you can get beyond the weirdness of this angry redheaded, well, maybe not anymore, Bostonian guy in Star Wars. We don't get that here. This is a one and done for Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Emilia Clarke plays Kira, Han's love interest from Corellia, who she's fine, I guess. You know, I don't really like. There's some interesting ideas they're doing with her character, like how she, in the time gap between when she and Han got separated, she had to do all sorts of nefarious stuff in order to stay alive, and she gets mixed up in it with this crime syndicate, Crimson Dawn, and you know the ideas and like the little morsels of that we get are interesting, but I feel like we could have used more.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, not bad, mind you, just I wanted more. Which, to be fair, we do get more of her in Star Wars comics, but
Yeah.
But then again, Star Wars is pretty much the king of taking underutilized and underbaked characters from the movies and expanding on them in other mediums. So I guess this fits.
I guess so.
Another character who gets recast with a younger actor, Donald Glover plays Lando Calrissian this time around. And honestly, he's my favorite part of the movie. He is just awesome.
Yeah, I think he fits the character of Lando really good.
Yeah. It helps that Donald Glover is probably one of the most talented people working in Hollywood these days, I think. You know, he can act, he can sing, he's a funny guy. He does it all, okay? He's just I love Donald Glover is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he seems really likable, and he really gave this role gave it his all.
Yeah. We get some bit parts here and there, such as Thandie Newton playing Val, Beckett's love interest, who that things don't end well for her. Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays Lando's love interest, L3, a feminist droid who becomes part of the Millennium Falcon's navigational system. Kind of funny to look at the original trilogy and realize that this sassy droid is actually the one controlling everything. But
Yeah, it kind of makes I can't freaking talk today. It makes the Falcon seem, it just kind of changes things a little bit.
I mean, a little bit. Because in Empire, it was sort of like hinted at that the computer system in the Falcon was a temperamental thing. So I don't think it changes that much.
I guess not. I don't know, man.
It's not lore breaking like any of the chicanery we saw in The Last Jedi.
No, it definitely, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah.
Paul Bettany plays Dryden Voss, sort of the main villain of this movie, but it's weird. He is Kira's boss and the guy who tells them to get the thing that they need to get. Pretty vague, I know, but yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what he does, though.
Jon Favreau plays his, at the time, second Star Wars character. He has three at this point. In Rio Durant, he's a sort of a multi-armed blue space monkey thing. Pretty funny guy. I like him. It was a shame when he died.
Yeah, we don't get too much time with him, but he seemed funny.
Aaron Killerman plays the leader of Enfys Nest, a freedom fighter group. And okay, look, I'm just going to put this right out here. I don't like any of these Enfys Nest characters. I feel like they didn't really add much to the movie. In fact, I think they take away from Han's character arc that we see he undergo in the original trilogy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they do kind of take away from Han and his like whole characterization, I guess. But yeah, it might have been better if they weren't even in the movie.
Yeah, I think so too. It doesn't really help that this actress also played a very similar role in the MCU's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There, she also plays a leader of this group of freedom fighters who are opposing our heroes, but ultimately ends up not having the worst of motivations. I like her a bit better in this one here because she isn't needlessly doing things like killing innocent people for no reason. Here, anyone she does kill, they kind of had it coming since they are outlaws.
I haven't seen the MCU one.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
We also get a few fun little cameos, one of which being Warwick Davis playing his character from The Phantom Menace. That was pretty neat. As well as a three-part cameo in Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul shows up at the very end.
Yeah, he's played on set by Ray Park, who played him in The Phantom Menace, who also returned to do his motion capture for the final season of Clone Wars. So that's pretty neat.
Pretty cool.
Originally, Peter Serafinowicz did the voice acting for Maul, but he was replaced by Sam Witwer, who did the voice for Maul on Clone Wars and Rebels, who by now is pretty much the definitive Darth Maul for Star Wars fans.
Okay.
Now, fun fact about Sam Witwer, though. Originally, Maul's cameo, he was supposed to have his lightsaber from Phantom Menace, the one that got sliced in half by Obi-Wan. However, Sam Witwer, because he's as much of a nerd as all of us, he said, hey, no, he wouldn't have had that at this point in the canon. He would have had either the Darksaber or this lightsaber that was combined with one of the Inquisitors. Because at that point, Maul had become the leader of Mandalore. He got the Darksaber from Pre Vizsla, who is the first Star Wars character that Jon Favreau played. Fun fact.
All right.
So what they did was they gave him the original saber and Inquisitor combo.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of lost me, but I guess it's a good thing they had a Star Wars nerd working on the set.
Well, I would hope so. I'm not going to say this is my favorite Star Wars movie. It's not. I don't think it's anyone's favorite Star Wars movie. But, you know what? I got kind of a soft spot for it. Now, maybe that's because you and I saw it on our first date.
Yes, we did. 2018?
Yeah.
That one, yeah. Yep, we did. First date. To the movies. Classic.
We did that, yeah.
Yep.
To the movies, to ice cream, to hanging out by the riverfront.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah. So, like I said, I feel like Enfys Nest kind of disrupts Han's character arc that he was going through in the original trilogy. Now, why do I say that? So, throughout this movie, Beckett is trying to teach Han, hey, don't trust people. They will always disappoint you. Stuff like that. And Han is kind of resistant to this idea because, he's just this bright-eyed, naive little kid. Well, not kid. He's like 24. But you get what I'm saying. He hasn't quite he's still green. You know, he isn't quite beaten down by the galaxy yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have that hard edge to him yet until the end where he shoots first. He kills Beckett, which kind of nice to see Han shoot first.
Yeah, I thought that was a good choice.
You know, so we're on track for character continuity between this and when we meet him in A New Hope, where he's not really part of he's not really up for the resistance. He's just in it for the money. Okay, fair enough. But then at the end of A New Hope, we see him come back and help because it's the right thing to do. Now, what do we see at the end of this movie? We see Han shoot first, yeah. But then he gives the coaxium to Enfys Nest, who are with the rebellion. So it's like, then how did that happen in with him at where we meet him in A New Hope? Like, this doesn't match up at all, I don't think.
I mean, I do see what you're saying. It does kind of make him lose his edginess that he had, I guess.
I feel like a better idea would have been not him necessarily giving Enfys Nest the coaxium, but just like him, with just them taking it and him just be like, oh, well, guess I can't stop you.
Yeah, I'm just kind of letting them take it, I guess. I don't know.
Like, not necessarily giving it to them, but just like being like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Not worth the trouble, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyways, that plus some other things are kind of... I have some other issues. Like, for instance, you can tell that this was a bit of a cobbled together project, given the change in directors when, you know, Lord and Miller were basically done with this movie.
Yeah, with changing directors like that, you know, there's going to be some problems, some complications.
Now, granted, the project that we ended up getting is far more coherent than you would have think, given the backstory. But still, it does show, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways, let's go into some trivia about this.
All right, tell me some trivia.
So apparently Phoebe Waller-Bridge didn't know that she was playing a droid.
How do you not know that?
I don't know, man.
Because aren't you, like, given the character, like, name and description?
Or, no. Okay, hold on. No, that's wrong. She says she doesn't know what a droid is. That's somehow worse.
Yeah, so she definitely not a Star Wars watcher.
No, well, she's British.
Yeah, you know.
This is the same lady who was the worst part of Indiana Jones 5. Okay, so we're clearly not working with... Okay, I'm getting a little mean. I'm sorry.
You're getting a little, what's it called?
Douchey?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay. I don't mean to bash anyone. I'm just getting a little too into it. I'm letting the dark side consume me.
Yeah, getting a little anti-British.
Anyways, so she played L3 as if she were a human.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but I would think the performance would be the same.
I don't know, man. I didn't like this character. I thought she was annoying. She wasn't too funny. Like I said, she was just there. I didn't feel anything when she died.
I didn't either. She's not my favorite droid, that's for sure.
She ain't no K2SO.
Yeah, that's true.
But few are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which this makes the first of two times where she played opposite a Harrison Ford character in a Lucasfilm production. So that's kind of funny.
That is kind of funny.
Okay. Okay, so Harrison Ford was actually he approved of Alden Ehrenreich's performance as Han Solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I thought it was a fine performance.
Ford actually visited the set and told Ehrenreich, "Good job, kid."
I would be so happy if Harrison Ford told me that.
Which, from Harrison Ford, you know, this notoriously grumpy man, he might as well have hugged him.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Bryce Dallas Howard, who would later direct episodes of The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, praised her dad's efforts.
Yeah. Well, he is her dad.
Which I feel like Bryce Dallas Howard has definitely made more quality Star Wars products than Ron Howard has. And I say that as someone who likes this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe she's just more of a Star Wars fan. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. So, when Paul Bettany found out that Ron Howard was doing this after he got hired on to do it, he asked him for any role in the movie, even if it was just something like some random stormtrooper. He ended up getting the role of the main villain, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, Paul Bettany is a great actor. I like him a lot. He plays good bad guys.
Yeah, and which this isn't even the first time that he worked with Ron Howard. He worked with him on A Beautiful Mind.
Oh, yeah.
In the Da Vinci Code. Guess he just likes him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
I think it was more like the Star Wars part than the Ron Howard. Though that could have had something to do with it too. He wanted to work with his friend again.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of both, maybe.
Okay. Okay, so Thandie Newton was not really too happy about her character's death because the shooting script left her character's status as pretty ambiguous.
Ooh.
You see, that's how little of an impact her character left. The part of Beckett's crew who blew herself up.
Oh, yeah. Because you said that name, and I was like, I have no idea who that is. And then I couldn't even think of a character who would have died, but yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy was also not too happy with Alden Ehrenreich in the role of Han Solo. Well, look, lady, Harrison Ford liked him, so I feel like that's good enough.
Yeah, does it say why she didn't like the performance?
She said that it was a mistake to try to recast one of the most popular legacy characters in all of Star Wars. Look, I apologize for being mean to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but I'm not going to apologize for being mean to Kathleen Kennedy. I don't care.
All right.
It's like, look, in this case, your approval is not needed, okay? Harrison Ford gave his approval. He liked him in the role. Now, granted, I have my own issues with him in the role, but he gets better, okay?
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, Harrison Ford's approval is that's pretty much all you need to, you know, that's a good sign.
Okay. There was also supposed to be a couple characters from Star Wars Expanded Universe comics, Tag and Bink, who are supposed to appear in this movie. There are a couple of idiot stormtroopers who get into all sorts of chicanery and misfit together. They're really funny guys. They're supposed to be in the movie, but they didn't make it to the theatrical cut.
Why not?
Probably cut for time.
Yeah. All right. I was just curious.
Okay, so this movie's reception basically killed any more Star Wars story movies.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, because originally, at one point, the Book of Boba Fett and the Obi-Wan series were supposed to be movies, okay? It was actually rumored at one point that Josh Trank, the director of Chronicle, 2015 Fantastic Four, and the Tom Hardy Al Capone biopic, was supposed to direct that, but other issues got him fired from that, and a host of other issues, this included, got that movie, kiboshed, and ended up just being the very mid-series we ended up getting.
Yeah, which maybe the movie would have been bad too.
Who knows? Don't matter, man.
Yeah. I don't even think I finished watching Obi-Wan.
No, you did.
Well, I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, I don't surprise you. That don't surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Lord and Miller's direction wasn't so great for this movie after all, because they were trying to turn it into a bit of a comedy, really.
Yeah.
Alden Ehrenreich wasn't really too. He wasn't really feeling it, so. And he didn't even feel like he did the comedy well, so maybe it was a good choice to switch directors.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it is funny at times, but I feel like the strongest comedy comes from, well, of course, Donald Glover.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So originally, Paul Bettany's role of Dryden Voss was played by Michael K. Williams. However, during reshoots, he couldn't come back to do it, so Paul Bettany was recast instead.
Okay, okay. I don't know who that first guy is.
Okay. Okay. So, like I said, I didn't say this. George Lucas visited the set as well.
Okay.
Since he's friends with Ron Howard. Okay. They were going to shoot a scene that had Han hanging up Kira's cloak for her in the Falcon's closet with all of Lando's fancy cloaks that he has.
Yeah.
Lucas thought that was out of character, though, and he gave suggestions on how it would go, and this scene actually made it into the final cut. So, kind of, sort of, George Lucas had input in this movie.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, he knows the character well.
Okay. So, other actors were, of course, considered for the role of Han Solo. It was basically the hot part for white dudes in their mid-20s in Hollywood at the time of casting. But I feel like you would have liked the runner-up for the role.
Who was it?
Taron Egerton.
Ah, yes, yes.
He was passed over due to the fact that he was already the lead in several upcoming big budget features, such as the Kingsman movies and that Robin Hood movie that he did that didn't really do well.
Yeah, I was like, I just think Kingsman movies. But yeah, that makes sense.
Other actors considered were Scott Eastwood, Clint Eastwood's son, Ansel Elgort, Tom Felton, Dave Franco, Logan Lerman, Jack O'Connell, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Miles Teller, and Ed Westwick.
Yeah, some pretty big names.
Charlie Cox of Daredevil also wanted the role. However, he was turned down because the producers didn't like that he couldn't keep eye contact, which, funnily enough, was a trait he acquired when he was undergoing a lot of method acting for his role on Daredevil, where he played a blind guy. For that, he trained for the role by wearing special contact lenses that completely blinded him. Bold move, but okay. And he took courses for recently blinded people while wearing them. Yeah. But point is, he didn't do so well in the audition because of his training for another role, so that kind of screwed him. Which, Charlie Cox is he's a bit older, so I feel like if he's playing a younger Han Solo, that wouldn't. I feel like they definitely made a better choice by going with a younger actor.
Yeah, that was my thought when you said Charlie Cox. I was like, I think he's a little older than all the other guys you mentioned.
Although, granted, he's only 7 years older than Alden Ehrenreich, so he's not too much older, but still.
He looks older, even though, yeah. So that's kind of. I can see why.
Yeah. Considered for the role of Lando were Michael B. Jordan, good choice there, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and O'Shea Jackson Jr. Good choices, but yeah, I feel like Donald Glover was the right choice. You definitely needed some more comedy with this role. I know I just said that a comedy focused movie was probably not the right choice to make. But I feel like for his character, you do need that because you need a more smooth operator. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think he was probably the best choice for Lando.
Tessa Thompson, Naomi Scott, Zoe Kravitz, Kiersey Clemens, Adria Arjona, and Jessica Henwick also were considered for the role of Kira. Christian Bale had discussions for the role of Tobias Beckett before Woody Harrelson was cast.
Yeah, okay.
I think I would have liked that more. Like I said, I like Woody Harrelson, but Christian Bale is just a lot more. Well, let's not mince words about it. He is one of the best actors working today, so why wouldn't I be upset about him getting the role?
Maybe he was too big of a name.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe he had something else going on at the time. Because this movie came out in 2018, same year as Bale's Dick Cheney biopic Vice. So maybe he was busy with that.
Maybe.
Okay. So, do you want to know why Darth Maul appeared in this movie?
Sure, why?
Ron Howard's son is a fan of the prequels, so he decided to put him in for his kid.
All right.
I say kid, but the guy's probably an adult.
Yeah, because Ron Howard's pretty old.
Well, older guys can have kids who are children.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Okay, so according to Donald Glover, he thinks that Lando Calrissian is pansexual. In this situation, I feel like that's pretty plausible because I feel like Lando would basically screw anything that moves.
Even if it's a droid.
Especially if it's a droid.
Yeah. A droid. So sure.
All right, look. Solo is not anyone's favorite Star Wars movie. We've established this. It has its problems. It's a bit messy in places, and I feel like at times there's some tonal issues. Like sometimes it just goes back and forth between these different sorts of contrasting tones, and it can jar a bit. But honestly, I still have a fun time with this. It's a fine enough time for a couple hours, and I like it. Maybe a bit of it is some nostalgia because it was our first date, and you know what? I'll fully admit that. But I don't know. I can't hate this movie.
I think people are a bit too harsh towards it. More harsh than what it deserves. And I think that did hurt it. I think if maybe people had a bit more of an open mind while watching it, it wouldn't have maybe tanked as hard. But yeah, maybe I'm just saying it because, I do have a soft spot for it. So
yeah, it was the movie that we saw together for the first time, and it eventually led to us dating, getting married, having this little baby that you have on you right now, who's falling asleep right now in her baby Yoda onesie.
I wish I was falling asleep too.
In your baby Yoda onesie?
Yes.
Now, that will do it for basically all of the theatrical Star Wars movies. I think during Christmas we're going to cover the holiday special, maybe, if I hate myself that much when that time comes around.
We'll see.
Definitely going to cover the Ewok movies at one point, even though I wish death upon each and every single one of them.
I love Ewoks.
At certain points during this movie, we had multiple people wearing fur coats, and I was just thinking to myself, and I said it out loud, I hope those fur coats are made out of Ewok furs. That would make me really happy.
Yeah, I just ignored you because you're too mean to the Ewoks.
I'm not mean enough.
Whatever.
Anyways, now, usually at this part of the coverage of this of a franchise, we would be talking about our favorite characters from this series. However, with a series like Star Wars, our favorite characters for this really deserves a video of its own. So, yeah, we might do that sometime.
Sure.
As for now, See you next time.
See you next time.